A wise man once said that racing on street tires is like wiping your backside with a turd. Let's find out if he was right. Okay, so here's how we're going to test those words. If you've been following along, you know that the LTD here makes about 500 horsepower naturally aspirated at the flywheel. You also know it makes about 750 horsepower with the electric supercharger turned on. We've called that thing the Sledgehammer. It has a power glide transmission, which means you only have 2 speeds, which also means you don't have to shift out of first gear until about 70 miles an hour if you don't want to. The rear gear is a 308, so it also doesn't have a whole lot of torque multiplication going on. Now, usually I race this thing on slicks. Right now, it's got a set of 26x9 Hoosier radial slicks. And this thing hooks. Off the trans brake at the track, it'll pull the fronts a few inches.
We got it! We got it! 998!
Yes!
I felt some airtime under the front wheels when it left.
4760.
Nice!
But how about on street tires? These are pretty meaty 275/40/17 Z-rated performance tires. Even with the Sledgehammer turned off, it's a pretty safe bet that the LTD will fry them from a standstill. But what about at 25 miles an hour? What about 50? What about 75? We'll test them all. One last thing before we head out. I get asked a lot, why not make some sort of bypass for when the electric supercharger's off? After all, we've tested it and we know it's about the equivalent of a 1 PSI boost restriction, about 35 horsepower loss. Let's test it out in the real world and see if it'd be worth doing. And of course, at the end of the video, there's a very special moment of Roger where he gets his own song, so be sure to stick around for that. But right now, let's go lay a patch for science.
Okay, you ready?
Ready.
We'll do the 25-mile-an-hour drive-by. Roger that.
And perhaps not surprisingly, we got a whole lot of nothing. I mean, it accelerated okay, but no wheel spin. Let's move on. I couldn't find my methanol. Went to Walmart last night and bought 7 bottles of heat. This is 99% methanol. Actually, if you look at the MSDS sheet, it's actually 100% methanol. But there are some additives.
Getting ready for the 25-mile-an-hour pass with the supercharger.
Switching on the turbo. Switching on the meth. Let's do this.
You ready to go?
And action.
Here we go.
What a difference some electric boost makes, huh? All it took was flipping a switch and we've got some fried hides. Let me give you a quick tour of the gauges. The air fuel gauge is the big blue one right in the middle up top. The boost gauge is here. The square at about the 11 o'clock position represents no boost, 0 boost. Below that is vacuum, above that is boost. The other gauges are coolant temp, trans temp, and fuel pressure. The big red digital display is the Sledgehammer's pack voltage.
Okay, here we go.
You can see it sag when the Sledgehammer comes on. If you haven't seen the other videos, this thing pulls about 670 amps at 52 volts when it runs. It's about 34,000 watts, or more than most houses use when they turn everything electrical on all at once.
Are you ready?
Right. Roger that. Ready.
Well, it did spin, but it also hit the rev limiter. By the way, that beep is when the dash cam thinks the car's been in an accident. All right, here we go.
Come on.
Well, that time I'd say we done fried them real good. After 30 years of racing, it's second nature for me to lift when the car gets loose. I had to fight that urge really strongly here. Yeah, that time I stayed in it. And of course, we hit the limiter again. Watch the tack get wacky.
Roger that. 75-mile-an-hour pass, and I am ready.
All right, here we go. I'm not gonna lie, this one scares me a little bit. All right, let's see what happens.
I missed it.
I'm gonna have to do that one again. She wouldn't lean on me.
Yeah, it seemed like it was, just a little off.
Yeah, I mean, what happened, I can't keep my eyes on the gauges, but I'm sure I know what happened. It went to higher than 12.5 to 1 on the air fuel, and if it does that for more than half a second, it kills the ignition.
Right on.
And it looks like that's indeed what happened. Watch the air fuel gauge, but also keep an eye on the tack. As soon as the ignition is killed by the AFR safety system, the tack loses its signal. You can see it drop like a rock. And so we have to do it again. What a shame. It may not look like much, but you can tell it was spinning because the back end of the car starts to drift and then immediately snaps back when I lift. It definitely went loose on me there. I'm not doing this again. It's one way to undercoat your car, I suppose.
Oh, yeah. Just a quick second of ticking.
Well, it looks like the wise man was right. Racing on street tires is indeed like wiping your backside with a turd. We racers have another saying, if you're spinning, you ain't winning. Thanks for coming along with me on this ride, and I hope you had as much fun watching this video as I did making it. And it's good to be back in the saddle again. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already. And now here's that special moment of Roger I promised. Be sure to listen to the lyrics.
Big women and beer, what else is there? Nothing but fast cars, big women and beer, that's about all I care. Fast cars, big women and beer, what else is there? Nothing but fast cars, big women and beer, that's about all I care.